Yo, Teo here, back with more of Door 5. Sorry about the volume issues in the last video. That should be fixed now. I checked like 3 times. So, pretty sure we're in the clear now, but if it isn't, well, I done fucked up. So, assuming that that's not gonna happen, I guess I'll get back into reading. A night had passed since the night with the rose. Right on schedule, the monthly delivery arrived, but it was in a letter that would dramatically change our lives. In it was a letter that would dramatically change our lives. My father, Antonin, had fallen ill and died. Huh! Well, that's a shocker. Definitely expecting him to come, like, ruin everything. But then he died. That is, usually not a good first step if your plan is to, like, ruin everything. Like, if you're, like, writing down your evil plan, right? You're like, okay, so the last step is I take over the world. Step before that is I kill the hero. First step is I die. That like, doesn't work out, right? I presumed it was the witch's doing, but she was silent, refusing to respond to my questions. If it wasn't her, then he must have died naturally. It seemed more than a little tasteless to celebrate someone's death, but good taste and reality do not always agree. I was extremely relieved to hear the news. The man had raped Giselle. He had tried to have me killed. And now, he was gone from this world. I had been waiting for this moment for years. His passing had another effect as well. My death could be revoked. Many years ago, my brother had told me that when he succeeded our father, he would welcome me back into the Bollinger estate, and I could be part of the family once more. So who wants to bet that that doesn't go well? Which meant this letter signaled the end of my banishment. Not sure how to feel about it. Yeah, rejoicing doesn't really seem appropriate. But this means you can return. This means you can return home now, right? In theory. My brother is set to take control of the estate, so he should be accommodating. I'm going to write a letter, have them send us a carriage. It is much too long a distance to walk. Alright? I'm excited. What should we do first when we get back to the capital? Ooh, I know. How about you stop by my place? My mom and sister won't believe their eyes. My time in this mansion was almost at its end. The future I had only vaguely envisioned was now within my reach. I'd always spoke of this moment predicated with eventually, like it was some kind of unobtainable fantasy. But now that it was practically a reality, I realized I hadn't actually given it much thought. So I guess if the dad's out of the picture, I guess the next one up to bat to ruin everyone's day is the witch. So, Fata Morgana doesn't fuck everything up, but... Hey, are you still awake? I am. Not a great night for sleeping, huh? Are you thinking about your family? I guess it might also be the brother. The brother is like, so yeah, now that I'm in charge now, it's like really awkward for me to have you around because you still look like you're cursed. So I'm gonna have you killed now, no hard feelings. That's definitely something I could see happening. It all seems so surreal. Yeah, it does. This house is like a desert island, cut off from the world, which makes everything feel kind of like a fairy tale sometimes. Even what we have. From time to time, you get the feeling that nothing is real, that the outside world is just a figment of my imagination, that my entire life only ever existed within these walls. Okay, these two are going a little bit stir-crazy. Are you nervous? Maybe I am. I always thought that when this day arrived, it would be more cathartic. Sorry. I'm finally able to take you back to the capital, and I can't seem to get past my own negativity. It's only natural to be nervous. I am too. I haven't spent nearly as long as you living in this mansion, but I know how you feel, because I feel the same way. Not knowing what the future holds, it's scary. You know, I was thinking, it would be okay with staying. I mean, I would love to return to the capital, and I miss my family dearly, but even if I never get to see them again, in no way would I consider myself unhappy. I honestly think I've got a pretty wonderful life. If you're not comfortable going back to that house, and you're just saying you'll endure it for me, Giselle, there are other paths we can take. You could live with your family, or you could remain here in the mansion. Not at all, no, I want to. No matter where I go, you'll be there with me, Michael. It's true, I am nervous not knowing what the future holds, but not in a scared something bad might happen kind of way. Well, that makes one of us. It's more of a jittery, excited anxiousness. I'm confident the two of us can overcome anything, no matter what obstacles may come in our way. Together, we can create an even more wonderful future. Don't worry, Michael. The future's nothing to be afraid of. You make it sound like I'm paralyzed with fear. But you are, aren't you? Hey now, don't give me that look. Once again, she's the one pushing me forward. I'll make sure you have a good, happy life. Thank you. What? Nothing. I'm feeling kind of sentimental, thinking about how we've only got a little time left here. It wasn't perfect, but it was an important part of my life. Indeed. Say. Yes? Well... I think I could handle it right now, probably. It? Oh, use your head, you little... And they banged. I don't follow. Oh my god, Michael. How can you be so dense? I mean, you know, touching, and so forth. You know, take the next step. I'm saying I'm feeling up for that right now. It's not proper for a woman to bring up that subject, is it? But I did kind of ask you to wait, and I feel bad leading you on for so long. Yeah, I'm sorry. You're shaking. I'm just really emotional, that's all. You don't need to force yourself if you're not ready. I can wait as long as you need. Besides, never mind. It's fine. There's no need to rush things. You don't need to worry. Yeah. God damn it. VNDB promised me no sexual content. I was here all ready to not have to narrate a sex scene. But life brings us to strange places. I wrote 2 letters. One to my brother, and one to my mother. One so Giselle could return, and one so I could be myself. To demonstrate who I was. I had to prove that I was not cursed. For failing to do that would not only bring her grief, it might become the final crack in the identity I had built up for myself. I had to convince her that I was neither demon nor angel, but a human man who had fallen in love with a human woman. And then Morgana had something to say about that. However, I was too foolish to realize that the future I envisioned was nothing but a fantasy. Had I been able to grasp that, then maybe I could have taken her somewhere far away, where no one knew who we were, where things might have turned out differently. Well, yeah, because I imagine his mom is still not a huge fan of Giselle. Right. It's been really foggy out lately. I'd rather if we left when it was clear. It would be terrible if the coachman rolled the carriage because he couldn't see where we were going. If there wasn't so much fog, I would probably have been able to see little columns of orange evening sunlight fighting their way through the trees, but the milky white mist seemed to swallow up all the light, leaving nothing for the surrounding area. It was rather dreary weather. I wonder when they'll be here. Although, if they never do show up, that's okay too. I was finally able to return to the capital with Michael, to see my family again. And that was wonderful. It was like a dream come true. But it wouldn't disappoint me if it didn't end up happening. I didn't care where I ended up, as long as Michael was there with me. That's all that matters. I should probably close the windows. The coach isn't likely to show up at night, I don't think. I reached my hands out to shut a window, which is when I saw something wavering beyond the heavy mist. Light. And it wasn't just the one. Looking closer revealed several more flickering spots. Oh, okay, so it looks like the townsfolk have decided to come back to light things on fire and such. They moved up and down, slowly but rhythmically. As more and more came into view, my mind began seeing them as people carrying torches. They're coming this way. Could they be our escorts? Back to the capital? I'm gonna go with they're people who want to light your house on fire. Though, what? As soon as the thought, there sure are a lot, popped into my head, something whizzed past my cheek. What? Huh? What was... Huh? Why? What? It was an arrow. Giselle! What? Ah! The arrow had flown through the window and pierced the opposite wall. Had Michael not knocked me out of the way. Giselle! Giselle! Are you okay? I'm fine. But what? What's going on? Never mind that. Right now we need to run. Huh? Wait, Michael! Oh, this might actually not be the townsfolk. This might be the Bollingers. That would be a little unfortunate. Now! There's no time to talk! Stay out of sight of the windows. Got it! He grabbed my hand and broke into a run. A relentless storm of arrows showered through the window we had worked so hard to get open a year ago. This wasn't what we had gone through all that effort for. Once I open the front door, run! We have to get as far from this house as quickly as we can. What was happening? Why did we have to run? Why were those people firing arrows at us? With the wave of questions came a wave of fear. I couldn't say anything. The sheer terror had frozen my jaw in place. Get ready. I nodded, squeezing his hand tight. I knew it would just be another obstacle to his safe escape, but I didn't want to let go of his hand. I was afraid that if I did, I would never be able to hold it again. Ah, callbacks. Are you alright? I'm fine, but how? Are people out front too? Damn it. Why? Several arrows were sticking out the floor before us. Beyond the door, which Michael had managed to shut almost immediately, rang a cacophony of whoosh, thump, whoosh, thump. We can't escape? Why? What's going on? Damn it! With a deep scowl, Michael barred the door, and all the while, the arrows kept flying. The panic in the air kept growing thicker. I don't understand. How did they... Only a handful of people even know about this place. Ah, this is all my fault. It's because I told the villagers about this place. They think a demon lives here, not a human. So they're here to tear down the house. They made weapons, bows, just for this? I don't... Ah! There was a deep rumble, and the ground the ground below us shook. I almost fell to the floor. They're trying to break down the door, it seems. Michael, I'm so sorry. This is all my fault, because of what I did. No, but it's not your fault. It's mine. Michael? I challenged her, because I did. She made my curse real. What are you talking about? Michael? Ah! This way, run! Michael dragged me through the mansion's corridors until we reached the chamber with the stained glass window. At the far end of the room sat a small door. Where does it lead? I'd been aware of the door's presence, but I'd never gone inside it. I don't think I know where that goes. Something about it seemed somewhat different than the rest of the house. Wait, does white-haired girl live in the house? Because if white-haired girl is Morgana, maybe? I don't know, I'm trying to reconcile the different pieces of information I have, because I know the white-haired girl, something bad happened to her. At one point she probably lived with Michael. Morgana is right now fucking with Michael because she's an asshat. And we still don't know, how white-haired girl is relevant to the overarching story. So maybe white-haired girl is Morgana? And if so, is she, a real person? Because it still seems more likely that Morgana is sort of not a corporal entity, so to speak. Right? She's not a literal person. But it's entirely possible that white-haired girl is both, a literal person and Morgana. Something about it seemed somewhat different than the rest of the house. I wasn't sure how to describe it exactly, but it felt like shadows had taken root here. The observation tower. A tower? But if we go up there, we're putting ourselves in a corner. It doesn't matter where we go, they have us trapped. There's a chance that up here... He didn't finish that thought, however. He opened the door, leading me into the tower, his face deathly pale. Okay, so this is observation tower, never mind. So it's mirroring the events of door 4, where they go up the observation tower, and then they get chased up, and then... Presumably they're gonna... Well, they died in door 4, right, but they might not die here. Something worse might happen. Because we still don't know how they got, down to the mansion, or what have you, or, whatever they're doing. How, Giselle became this immortal maid, and Michael became, reincarnating, regenerating, what have you. We started running again, around and around the spiral staircase, making our way toward the top. In regular intervals along the wall were rectangular windows. A layer of fog still lay thick across the land. Peering out into it made me feel like we had been thrown into a dream world. If it weren't for the orange spots of torchlight surrounding the mansion. The silhouettes holding the torches. Is that armor? Appeared to be knights. Michael, tell me, why do you think this is your fault? What is your curse? Your curse? It isn't just the color of your hair and eyes, is it? There's more to it, isn't there? There's something else, isn't there? Michael's gaze was firmly directed forward as he frantically led me up the stairs. We were breathing hard, and the sound of it echoed against the tower's stone walls. Our panicked hearts were beating so hard, I was afraid they might be able to hear it outside. This is actually interesting, because I haven't been giving much thought to Michael's curse. I had just sort of assumed, since the beginning of Door 5, that he was just a normal human. but I guess his curse is coming back into play. Eventually, we made it to the top. A pile of discarded rope lay unceremoniously at the foot of a door, presumably once used to seal it shut. The door itself was deeply weathered and rotting in places. It had obviously been left sitting in disrepair even longer than Michael had lived there. Oh, it's... Another interesting thing to note here is that at the top of the tower in door 4, they, made very clear reference to the fact that the window used to be much larger, right? They called out that the stonework was different. And at one point, the window had been much larger than it was at that time. So it's possible that that was foreshadowing for them taking the Toy Story route here, which is, as they say, Buzz out the window, or out the window, Buzz, you're a genius. What is this? Inside. Frigid air nipped at my skin, and it wasn't a pleasant, refreshing kind of cool, but a bitter, oppressive cold. The room felt unlike any other in the mansion. This is an observation tower? You can't even... Okay, so they're using the same artwork, I think, as they did for the room in the 4th door. So I guess my speculation about the larger window they're going to escape out of was perhaps in vain. There once would have been windows allowing you to see in all directions outside the mansion, but now all that remains now is that tiny opening near the ceiling. Okay, so door 4 and door... Oh yeah, I guess door 4 and door 5 were both taking place in 1099. So it makes sense that it makes some degree of sense that that's consistent. If we hide out here, then there's a chance they might not find us. Ah! Sounds like they broke down the door. Don't worry, they won't find us. And when they give up our search, then we can get out of here. I'm sure it will turn out all right. Michael's voice was quivering, as was his hand in mine. Michael. We huddled together, feeling each other's warmth in our arms. My free hand clutched his shirt for dear life. I'm sorry. What? I'm to blame for this. It's my fault you're in this mess. The pain you had to experience, your being sent to this place, and what's happening now, can all be traced back to my being born. I'm so sorry. Why was he apologizing? Why did he insist this was his fault? Why wouldn't he tell me what his curse was? Why were people trying to kill us? Right. Those people were trying to kill us. Putting it into words like that made the fear that much more real. The arrows they fired weren't threats. They meant to kill us. Michael. But with Michael trembling in my arms, I couldn't bring myself to ask those questions. What meaning would those answers even have with death lurking so close behind us? All I could do was pray. I mean, they have meaning for me. You should just, live your lives as if you're characters in a story and ask each other questions for my personal entertainment. I feel like that's how all people should live their lives. People should just, randomly during conversations, have exposition in case that I'm watching them from another plane of existence. All I could do was pray. Pray that he was right, that they wouldn't find us and we would be able to escape. However, over here, there's a door, and stairs leading up. My hopes were shattered by the sound of voices from below. I could hear a faint clanking of armor. Our grips on each other tightened, and our trembling intensified. Now, I guess the, baseline, or, the most basic guess here is that Michael's curse being activated is this... Michael's curse in door 5 is the same as door 4. It was just off for most of the story because, I don't know, he was on better terms with the witch. So, the, super basic interpretation is that, the endings of door 4 and 5 are basically the same here, where Michael's I'm gonna go bleed on everyone, they're all gonna die, and it's gonna be hilarious. But first of all, that doesn't work because right now they're holding on to each other. Although I guess there was that line at the end of door 4 where they speculated, the story itself speculated that Michael's curse doesn't work on people he loves. So, that's still a possibility, but I feel like they wouldn't have the exact same ending twice in a row. I feel like there's gonna be some horrible twist here. And I'm gonna feel really dumb for not having guessed it, because as of right now, I have basically no idea what's gonna happen. Fear swelled within the tower, making us its slaves. Giselle. We were both terrified. And who wouldn't be? Fairy tale heroes could be magically courageous in the face of overwhelming danger, but they weren't real. The fear of my impending death, drawing nearer and nearer with each passing moment, almost drove me to madness. I couldn't think clearly. My heart was having trouble keeping up. My head was a big, white mess. We were supposed to return to the capital, start a new life, finally obtain our happiness. It was right there at our fingertips. Enough happiness to make up for Michael's 10 years of isolation, and enough to erase that nightmare from my memory forever. What had we done to have that taken away from us? We just loved each other and wanted a quiet life together. Nothing outrageous. Ah, they wanted a quiet life together. What a beautiful duang. Chew. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. But what scared me the most was being separated from Michael. Hey, Michael, what are those people really doing here? If what they're after is money or valuables, we can offer them everything in the mansion. We don't need any of it. If they don't want us to return to the capital, we can tell them we'll stay here. They might be willing to talk it over. I don't care if I lose everything else. As long as I have you, I can survive anywhere. All that mattered was that we had our lives. As long as the two of us still breathed. But... death! Death to the unholy one! Death to the heretic! Death to the witch! Despair hung over us like the fog outside. There were no heretics, no witches, no unholy ones here. I mean, Morgana might have something to say about that. But they would probably never listen to us. The moment we stepped outside of this room, we would be dead, no matter what we said. Michael, I'm all right. It's okay, Michael. I'm not scared. You're here with me, after all. I'm fine. It's all fine. So please, hold me until it's all over. Please, stay with me. Finally you speak. Michael? He wasn't looking at me, though. His unfocused eyes were directed upward, not toward any particular point, wandering aimlessly. His purplish lips appeared to move, as though he was speaking, but no sound came out. Hey, Michael. Are you alright? Come back to me, Michael. I grabbed him by the shoulders and shook, but he didn't even seem to notice. No matter how many times I called to him, he didn't look down from the emptiness above. So I wonder if we're going to get this same scene from Michael's perspective, because there is a fair amount of, exposition that we're missing right now, where, Michael is clearly having a conversation with Morgana, and he's like... Except I don't even know what he's saying, right? I don't know what they're saying. I would like to know. Michael! Giselle. Finally, after far too long, his gaze slid down to meet mine. He looked defeated, exhausted, and cornered all at once. I was scared too, but his fear seemed to have consumed him entirely. Please hear me out, Giselle. I never thought anything good would become of my life. I never thought I would find anyone who truly understood me, who would be happy to have my love. And for that, I hated the world. I was in constant torment, living in the shadows. But then, a single ray of light shone down upon me. Michael, you, Giselle, you delivered me from the darkness. I'm scared, Giselle. I'm terrified. I used to think my life was meaningless, that it didn't matter if I lived or died. But now I can't stop shaking. It's perfectly normal. I'm scared to death too, but what scares me most is losing you. Michael, I should have noticed. Noticed his arms were tensing up. Noticed, and stopped him. So please, allow me to repay you. I said I would do anything for you, so let me do this. I haven't given you anything. I haven't done anything for you. So give me one final chance. Michael, you're being a dumbass. Michael! What are you doing? Get back in here, Michael. What? Why? The door. I can't open it. I shoved on the door, trying to go after him, but it wouldn't budge even the slightest bit. It was as though there had never been a door there at all, merely a wall disguised as one. There wasn't someone holding it shut from the other side, either. I pushed and I pulled with all my might, but I couldn't even manage to eke out the tiniest crack. Michael! Michael! What did you do to the door? Come on, get back in here! I don't want to lose you either! Say something, Michael! You're out there, aren't you? Please, please, don't do anything rash. They're going to kill you if you're out there. Giselle, the witch told me. What? That she would ensure your safety. Michael, she isn't real. There is no witch talking to you. It's all in your head. A figment of your imagination created to alleviate your loneliness. Rest assured, she does not lie. Michael! Please listen. You're a wonderful woman, Giselle. Spirited, true to yourself, deeply sympathetic. You are not to blame for how difficult your life has been. Most of the fault lies with me and a bit of bad fortune. But that's all behind you now. Once this is over, you can start anew. What are you talking about? So survive. Live a good, fulfilling life. Move past this. Live your life. And always love your family. I know you can do it. That is my wish for you. No, I don't want that. I want to be with you. No one else but you. I don't want to let you die. There it is. Death to the heretic! Death to the heretic! Death to the heretic! Here, get back in here, Michael. Open the door. If my choice is to live on without you, I'd rather... Your scars will heal. You'll find a nice man and have a wonderful family. Why? Thank you, Giselle, for bringing light to my world. Don't say that. But if there is a next life, I hope you don't mind if I pray that we're able to meet again. That we can find each other once more in another world. Michael! Michael. It is our holy duty as knights of the church to deliver punishment unto the heathen who has made a pact with the devil. Come on, Michael, open the door! You are sentenced to death, your body to be hanged upon the cross for 3 days and 3 nights, wherein your unholy flesh shall be purified by the fires of heaven. Why, what are you doing here? Open the door! Michael, please! Listen to me! You can hear me out there, can't you? You shall now be executed. You have any final words? Who is it you're sentencing to death? Michael Bollinger, or a demon child, naturally? Or a witch, perhaps? Please, open the door! Why won't you open it? He isn't unholy or impure. He's a perfectly normal human, and a very sweet man. Yes, I'm the witch! The witch is in here! I'm the one you want to execute! Kill me! Execute me! Now I see, Giselle. This world... Kill him! So many blades pierced my flesh. Sword in my chest, lances in my arms and shoulders, arrows in both of my legs. I could hardly even tell what hurt anymore. There was an unpleasant sound in the tower, almost like a heavy rain. It was the sound of my blood spilling onto the stone. Red. It was red, just like anyone else's blood. It didn't flow into unnatural patterns. It didn't turn into black demonic shadows. It didn't cause anyone who touched it harm. It was just ordinary red blood. Regardless, its body was probably still cursed. It had to be. I couldn't hear Giselle's voice anymore. I hoped she was safe and alive. I prayed that at least she would be protected, that the witch would keep her promise. It was getting dark. Light was quickly departing from my world. Darkness everlasting dragged me down into its pits. I believed in you. Michael? Michael! Hey, say something! Talk to me! Hey, what's going on? What's going on here? No, this can't be happening! An impossibly heavy thud came from beyond the door, and with it, Michael fell silent. Then, intermittent squelching sounds as something slid down the door. No, this can't be! Why? I pounded on the door with all my strength, but still it refused to give. The skin on my hands eventually going raw and beginning to seep blood. Why? Why should Michael have to be killed? Tell me why. Take me with you. Please, don't leave me behind. That man isn't a witch. He isn't cursed. I'm cursed, not him. So don't hang him. Don't humiliate him like that. Kill me instead. Please! Again and again and again, I pounded on the door. But the self-described knights on the other side seemed to not even be aware of my presence. Oh! Okay, new theory. So Michael did something for the witch in exchange for guaranteeing Giselle's safety, which might be why Giselle is immortal. Because the witch is like, well, gotta keep my promise. Guess you're not allowed to die. They seemed unable to hear my cries. So if we're mirroring the ending of Door 4, where, first of all, Michael sacrifices himself, and in Door 4, his blood was magic, so it killed everyone. And in Door 5, his blood isn't magic, so, like, nothing happens there. And then, at the end of Door 4, white-haired girl made a pact with the witch, and then killed herself. So maybe what's going to happen now, or, like, what would mirror that, if it happens now, is Giselle tries to kill herself, but she can't because the witch made her immortal. Their armor clanking with each step, they began to descend the staircase, and with it, I could hear the sounds of something being dragged slowly across the floor. No! Don't take him away! Stop! Don't take Michael away from me! I'm begging you! But my pleas were in vain. My hope was for naught. The knights took him away. Took him somewhere out of my reach. For all eternity. Don't take him from me! Michael. After much, much too long, the door swung open all on its own. It happened so unceremoniously, it was hard to believe I had actually been trapped inside. I had no idea how much time had passed, but the chill in the air suggested it was deep into the night. And with the biting cold, there was the stench of blood. Why? Why? Michael! I never wanted this. You didn't understand it all, Michael. You didn't know the depths of my feelings for you. You didn't know how intensely I wanted you, how fervently I loved you. I was never going to be able to find someone else, and live happily with them. It had to be you. The thought of anyone else touching me terrified me. You just didn't understand. I don't want to live in this stupid world. The time I spent with you truly was the happiest time of my life. I remember everything now. You died on that day. You were killed. You disappeared from this world and left me behind. That's right, I remember. I remember the pain, the agony of death, and the fear. I did, indeed, die that day. You refused to listen to me. Do you have any idea how it felt? To feel you dying from the other side of that door? Giselle, I wanted to take you with me. Or I wanted you to take me with you. Is this what you so wanted to see? My memories, the traces of my life on this earth. And there. In order to find your truth, we need more of the story. Very well, then. If you want more story, I will tell you more. What comes next is both a continuation and a brand new tale. The Maid's Tale. When you've heard it all, I expect you to commend me for not forgetting how to smile. We haven't completely cut through the darkness yet. An arctic wind blows past me. At the same time, I'm gripped with an overwhelming urge to break down into tears. Perhaps this is the solitude she felt for so long. I have to face this. I have a responsibility to her to do so. And I have to atone for being such a misguided fool all those many years ago, convinced that I was doing what was best. Man, that's kind of sobering, if you consider that, like, assuming that the maid is, like, immortal and she was... It puts, like, all the other doors in perspective, right? Where she's just, like, in the background in all the doors, but now that you realize that she's the female lead, all those doors just feel like so insignificant in comparison with just her just waiting that whole time. This is my tale, and the maid's tale. A tale of a foolish, naive girl. Looking back on it now, I'm ashamed of everything. But I will tell you my story, in its entirety, without embellishments. I ask that you please not let go of my hand. The only thing the knights left behind were a garment and a large pool of your blood. Blood had seeped into the fabric, and it was beginning to dry. When I clenched it in my hand, it made soft crackling sounds. The oppressive stench of death lingered in the tower. Michael, there's no point in a life without you. You know that, right? Have a wonderful family? You know I can't do that. Hey, Michael, answer me. Come back to me. I don't care if it's as a ghost. I just need you here with me. Come back to me. Talk to me about nothing, and about everything. Be irritated with me when I do something stupid. Scoff at me whenever I tell a bad joke. Trounce me at chess again. Put your arms around me. One more time. Come on. I'm begging you. If you won't come back to me, then I'll go to you. I don't care if it's not what you wanted for me. The world without you is meaningless. Dying won't guarantee you get to see him again. Oh, Morgana, that's what you're gonna do? You're gonna be like, well, you get to live forever, or you don't get to see him again. That's fucked up. He spends all this time refusing to talk to me, and when he finally does, he begs me to save his love. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Rather disappointing, to be honest. Who are you? Where are you? Quite daft, aren't you? Within these walls, I'm everywhere. And you've heard of me before. But I have no... Heavens, you are slow. Is that pretty head of yours only for decoration? What? But no, there's no one else. You might be thicker than these walls, my dear. Although, I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. You never did believe anything Michael said about me. He was going mad. Haha, this is brilliant. No, there's no way. It can't be. The cursed witch? Morgana? Oh, you even know my name, do you? It would appear my legend has survived longer than I expected. I suppose I should thank all the humans who passed it down for me. You actually exist? I most certainly do, my dear. As I recall, you don't believe in the supernatural, do you? But it's hard to deny when that very witch is talking to you right this moment. Michael was not even slightly mad, my dear. I told him he was better off without his sanity, but he refused to listen. He wasn't deranged. His surroundings were. His environment, people around him, his whole world. Can you imagine how dreadful that must have been? The only sane resident in a world gone utterly mad. It's a miracle he managed to keep his head. Remember what you said just before he died, my dear? You said it was all in his head. You said he couldn't tell the difference between illusion and reality. You said he had long since gone insane. Shouted it at the top of your lungs. No, that's not what I meant. Ah, poor Michael. Only you had believed him about the witch. I feel bad for you, though, too. You have my pity. What did you ever do to deserve this? Oh, and just to be perfectly clear, I played no part in either your or Michael's misfortune. The only force to blame for that is fate. You were a good, honest, joyful, lovable woman, and look at how the world treated you. May I ask you something? Was it you who sealed me in the tower? Yes, it was. It was what Michael wanted. Once, I told him I would grant his wish, so I did as he asked. Though it looked like that just ended up causing you even more pain. How tragic. So, you're planning to die? Are you hoping to reunite with him in heaven? That plan's destined to fail from the outset, my dear. God teaches that suicide is a sin. You'll go to hell for it. Then, I will not kill you. Why not? Because I swore to Michael that I would save your life. Poor Giselle. If you have any other wish, I'll be happy to grant it. I can't bear to see you so miserable. Oh, okay, so Morgana's actually being less of a dick than I thought. A wish. You have but a single desire right now, to see him once more. Isn't that right, Giselle? Are you saying you can make that happen? Bring him back to life for me? The forces of life and death are outside of my realm. That is God's territory, or the angels. However, I can guarantee you this. His reincarnation, no, his reconstruction. His reconstruction? Yes. You can meet him again, not in this life, but in some future life. Just imagine it. Finding your beloved again after overcoming so much tragedy. 10, 20, maybe 100 long years from now, you're finally reunited. Doesn't that sound marvelous? True, unparalleled love in its purest form? What do you think? Just because you can bring his soul back, doesn't make it Michael. I want to be with him, that brusque, impenetrable, slightly immature, but gentle as a butterfly man. A man who sincerely, deeply loved me. If it's still the same soul in a different body, can you still call him my Michael? Ah, my apologies. You beat me to the punchline, and you did so with such ardor you threw me off balance. You're exactly right. The idea that, if your love is strong enough, you can both be reborn and have exactly the same relationship is utter fairy tale nonsense. You must be the same people to have the same love, which is why I am promising not his rebirth or reincarnation, but his reconstruction. Your wish can become reality, Giselle. As long as you wish for it with all your heart, it can come true. I'll wish for his reconstruction as well. You have a witch asking to make this happen, my dear, so you can be confident that it will bear fruit. And you wish for him to remain as himself. If he truly loves you, and he too wishes to reunite with you, your wish shall be granted. Will you really wish with me? I most certainly will, my poor, pitiful, dear Giselle. I shall offer up my most heartfelt prayers for you. I'll wish for it. Until the moment of my death, I'll keep wishing for us to be reunited as the same people. I can't guarantee your reconstruction, though. What? I only said I guaranteed his. Michael's is the only reconstruction I will wish for. I will not ask for yours. Why not? You're not looking at a benevolent wish-granting goddess or an angel with a magic bow and arrow. You're looking at a cursed witch. And how am I to be with him again? I can offer you but one option that will allow you to reunite with your reconstructed Michael. Tell me, what do I have to do? You must live here with me. Live with you? What do you mean? It was Michael who resurrected me, but he could not serve as my guide. I have work to do, but I cannot do it alone. Wait. Interesting. She has work to do? What could that be? Like, what is her agenda? If we, like, look back at all the previous doors, or, like, at least 1 through 3, what is the house trying to accomplish? Because in 2, it was pretty much just pushing Yukimasa to, like, kill people. In 1, the house didn't really have much of a direct role in the proceedings, or at least the Morgana wasn't actively trolling anyone. 3 was pretty much the same, although she might have been behind the weird writing in the cellar in some capacity. In the 4th one, while we were in like the meta perspective, she was, what was she doing? She was mostly just trolling us. She was like, this story's lies, haha, sucks to be you. I don't know, maybe they'll tell us. I have work to do, but I cannot do it alone. I need a guide to assist me, because as you see, I have no body. If this house did not exist in this world, then perhaps I might be able to give myself form. My soul's form. I don't understand anything you're saying. You don't need to understand. All I need from you is for you to show your utmost hospitality to the people I'm expecting to show up at this mansion someday. Entertain your guests. That's right, my dear. Michael isn't the only one whose reconstruction I'm wishing for. There are others. Several heinous sinners. Interesting. So, Morgana actually has, like, a vendetta against the protagonists of the previous doors? She's, like, reincarnating them and then bringing them to the house to, like, torture them? Weird. So I want you to serve as a maid and watch over them when they arrive. And until then, keep the house in good condition. What are you scheming? Is that something you truly need to know, my dear? I mean, it's something I need to know. All you need to do is wish. Pray for the day your beloved appears before you again. For the day he wraps his arms around you once more. One word, Giselle. That's all I require. Do you want to see him again? Do you want to hear his voice again? I'm finding it very difficult to trust Morgana here. I can promise you you'll have your happiness back. What reason is there to hesitate? There isn't one. Or are you simply going to give up? Like, she sounds like a used car salesman right now. And general rule of thumb is you should avoid trusting used car salesmen at their word. I wonder, what would happen if you said no? If you disappear from this world? How will Michael react when he comes back? Will he be sad, angry, or will he forget about you and fall into the arms of another woman? No, he can't. Then make up your mind. Will you come with me, or will you throw it all away? If I'd given it a little thought, I would have realized she was manipulating me. Yeah, no shit. That she was just telling me what I wanted to hear. But I believed her. I accepted her proposition. As unbelievable as it sounded, my desire for it to be real overpowered everything. It was impossible not to grasp at the straws she was dangling in front of me. That was all I could do at the time. The witch's voice also had an inexplicable power to it. It made me believe, as outrageous as it was, that she really could bring you back, reconstruct you. Maybe because I had seen her turn a door into an immovable wall, or maybe because I had heard her disembodied voice, but I don't think those are enough to explain it. My guess is she had me under her spell. That was the moment I became the maid. But I assure you, I was, at that point, still the same Giselle you knew and loved. The sound of the rain never seems to stop. Am I hallucinating it, maybe? From the moment I lent my ear to the witch's sweet temptations, the mansion underwent an unimaginable transformation. No light shone through the windows, despite them still being unobstructed. Not morning, day, or evening. In fact, the concepts of morning, day, and evening did not seem to exist. The darkness resembled that of when the windows had all been sealed off. There was something more fundamentally unreal about it. Like it was hovering over a vast, all-consuming abyss within a constant haze of malice. I felt like I had been cast into some unknown realm, and that was why there was nothing beyond the windows. And the house was not the only thing that underwent changes. I, too, was no exception. In the blink of an eye, all my basic human urges vanished. I stopped feeling hungry, and I no longer needed sleep. Naturally, I was bewildered by what was happening to me, what I was turning into. I think I'll take a look around. Maybe there have been other changes. So I meandered through the mansion's halls. My original intent was to explore the entire house, but I found myself drawn towards one room in particular. That's right, your bedchamber. There was no light, not a trace of color remaining in your chambers. But the bed was the same shape, the walls the same texture, the curtains the same design as when you had been alive. Michael, I'm praying, I'm always praying, that someday we'll meet again. Oh, there's something hidden under the bed. What could it be? Oh, is it the painting? It's that painting. Ah. I never did get to ask why he got so angry about me seeing this. I'm sure it's something he didn't want to be reminded of. Perhaps having to do with his family. I was right not pressing him about it. That's creepy. Ah! Ah, what the... Did the painting just smirk at me? Oh god. Ah! Oh jeez, Giselle. What are you doing tripping over yourself? It was just that accursed witch messing with your head. No need to get spooked over a tasteless prank. Ah, when I stumbled, I guess I knocked a drawer open. There's something inside. Letters, it looks like. I shouldn't touch these. They're not mine. But I want something of Michael's to have. Something to remember him by. His letters should be in his handwriting. They would contain his words. Please forgive me, Michael. I don't mean you any ill will, but I'm going to take these. I must say, there are an impressive number of... Eek! What on earth? It's like someone dumped an inkwell on every page. Why? Was this the witch's doing too? Yeah, it has to be. It must have been her. It definitely wasn't you, Michael. Was it? I mean, it probably was him. So like letters from his sister, maybe? Or like letters to his sister? I'm still under the assumption that the white-haired girl is Michael's sister. Whatever that's worth. Door. I wonder what it's like outside. I can't get it open. What's going on? The bar isn't set, but it won't budge an inch. It's just like up in the tower. I know, the windows. Out the window? Buzz, you're a genius. They should open. Then I can... What's going on here? What the heck is going on? It's like there's an invisible wall in front of the window. My hand won't go any further. This is rich. What else can I do but laugh? What in the world? This is madness. Hurry up, Michael. Return to me. Get me out of here. Please, get me out of here. I had no idea how to explain anything that had happened to the mansion, but it was clear enough that I was imprisoned within its walls. I was all alone in the nebulous sphere of bleak darkness, and beyond its walls lay void. The layout of the house remained unchanged, but I felt as though I had wandered into a twisting labyrinth. I could cry, but there was no one there to soothe me. All it did was provoke her disembodied cackling, which she followed with, "You chose this, my dear, so you need to hold yourself together and keep wishing." Man, that's sadistic. My only real pastime was cleaning. I dusted the same corners again and again, swept the same floors, polished the same dishes. One day, I decided I would read the books left in the library. Despite there being more than 100 volumes, I finished every one of them in what felt like no time at all. My life was a never-ending cycle. Day in and day out, day in and day out. The house had no visitors. No one, rather nothing at all, set foot upon the property. There were no signs of other life whatsoever there. No birds singing in the morning, no cats sunbathing in the garden, no mice scurrying about the kitchen, no creepy crawly insects. There was nothing. Nothing at all. The only thing that broke the long stretches of silence was her voice. Tell me, was she kind to you? Was she friendly and courteous? Because she was quite harsh when she spoke to me. These were the kind of things she was always saying to me. He didn't show up today, did he, my dear? Are you still praying, my dear? Do you think he'll actually come, my dear? I'm still wishing, just like I promised, my dear. You know why he hasn't come for you, my dear? Because perhaps he doesn't actually love you as much as you thought. Yeah, that's fucked up. My dear, my dear, my dear, have you lost your mind yet? Shut up! I've had enough. I'm done with you. Enough. Please, enough already. Oh, what's got you so worked up? You love to talk, don't you? So why not have a nice little chat with me? This is not a chat. Maybe not in your mind, my dear. You seem to think chatting only constitutes conversations you enjoy. I don't think the word's usage needs to be so restricted, personally. You're just getting off on watching me squirm. Oh, not at all. You'll have all my best wishes if he ever does show up for you. Ooh, so scary. If you're making that face when he shows up, he might not even recognize you. What? You haven't looked in a mirror recently, have you? Go on then, my dear. See just how frightful you've become. No. The witch was right. I looked nightmarish. My face was pale and lifeless, my eyes hollow, my cheeks sunken, heavy bags beneath my eyes. My hair had lost its sheen, and it grew wildly. I was quickly losing everything that made me recognizable as me, and the thought sent a shiver down my spine. No, this isn't me. This is some kind of trick. You're trying to deceive me. Baseless accusations. You must really stop blaming people every time something doesn't turn out the way you want, my dear. But, my face was more what? More expressive, more cheerful, brighter, rosier? You're right, you were never this gloomy, were you? Right, I was always more cheerful than this. Naive girl. Could you be any more narcissistic? What you're looking at is, undeniably, exactly what you look like now. Time did not do that to you, nor did I. The negative energy oozing from within you is what's causing you to take on this form. Did you think you didn't have any dark, ugly emotions inside you? Did you believe you'd always be able to smile no matter what? Did you assume you were pure and beautiful? No one like that exists, my dear. What you see in the mirror is the true you. Your hideous, twisted heart. If you weren't always being so nasty, this never would have happened. Anyone's heart would be twisted listening to you long enough. So you're saying Michael's heart was twisted too? I spoke to him for years. No. I'm just teasing. I suppose I may have crossed the line there. I mean you no ill will, Giselle, honest. Allow me to give you one word of advice, though. Look at yourself in the mirror often. If you continue deteriorating at this rate and end up looking like a corpse, when Michael comes and sees you, he won't jump for joy, but run away, screaming in terror. Stop talking. Please, just stop. You know, Giselle, this is only the very beginning. He might not show up for hundreds of years. I can't live that long. Absolutely brilliant. You still think you're alive? What? The moment you agreed to come with me, you ceased to be of this world. So don't worry about time, my dear. We can wait as long as it takes. As long as it takes for him to arrive. As the witch had suggested, I started checking my appearance in the mirror every day. I wanted to ensure I didn't turn into some horrifying creature. My hair grew, so time seemed to be passing, but I didn't appear to age at all. The flow of time had become perplexingly vague and uncertain. Was it stopped, or was it moving? I couldn't tell. On occasion, I would practice smiling in front of the mirror. My smile was, after all, my one really distinctive feature, and I was certain you had seen me smiling more than anything. Even if my appearance had changed drastically, I thought, you'd still be able to recognize me by my smile. A woman standing alone in front of a mirror practicing how to smile. I'm sure that was quite the comical sight. And that was about how my days went, for an incomprehensibly long time. Define incomprehensibly long. So we're at what? 100? Jeez. Something tells me she is not in a great state right now. For the first 100 years, I kept track of how much time had passed. An hour, a day, a month, a year, 10 years, 50. But once it had surpassed the person's average lifespan, the counting started driving me mad, and so I stopped. My sense of time began to numb. In place of sleep, I spent my days in a trance-like state. Doing so, I was less aware of the passage of time, which made it a little easier to bear. Suspended in this bubble of time, my mind went out to you. God, and we still have like 300 more years before flaxen-haired family shows up. The next thing I lost a sense of was myself. I lived as a human for 21 years. After spending nearly 10 times that trapped in the mansion, I began to feel like that was all I had ever been. That maybe my past was all a construction of my imagination. That, as an otherworldly being, I merely fantasized about being human. Had I actually had a family? Had there actually been other people in the world? Did cities and villages really exist? Was there ever really a time when light shone through the windows? When we were happy? But I knew if I started doubting everything, I wouldn't be able to maintain myself, so I settled on believing one thing. That you, Michael, were real. That you had been with me. That I had loved you. And that it was you I was waiting for. I tried to always remember that one fact. My characteristic energy and cheer were disappearing. By then, I hardly ever raised my voice anymore. And in response to that change, the witch seemed to treat me a little nicer. On occasion, I thought I could sense her presence nearby, like she might reveal her form to me from beyond the darkness, instead of only speaking to me. I could feel her sitting beside me. Giselle, do you think you're still Giselle, even now? I suppose it doesn't matter either way. Sometimes, I think love and fanaticism are two sides of the same coin. What are you implying? Oh, nothing. I have an idea, though. Why don't we make you some new clothes, my dear? The loom should still work, thanks to your keeping everything in order. That outfit's an artifact of an age long past by now. You know how long it's been? Vaguely, but yes. As we speak, time still marches onward. Not too quickly, and not too slowly, but at the same pace as you're breathing. Now, on your feet, Giselle. You've plenty of time, so let's make you the perfect maid's outfit. If we don't have enough materials, we can make more thread from the sheets or curtains. How exciting. So I'm still pretty in the dark about Morgana's agenda. Following her instructions, I wore garments in a style that did not exist in my era. They were quite strange to behold. The old me might have been stricken with fascination by them, but at that point, I wasn't even sure how to rejoice, how to be impressed, or how to be moved anymore. I suspect I won't really start getting hints into the witch's motivation until people start showing up at the mansion. And she starts, like, taking revenge on these sinners. Or so she puts it. It sounds like rain again. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Hiss, hiss. What year is it? Hiss, hiss. Oh, it doesn't matter what year it is. It doesn't matter where it is. As long as you're there. It can be anytime. Anywhere. Where are you, Michael? What are you doing? I'm still praying. I'm still wishing for you to appear before me. Forever and ever and ever. Ever and ever and ever. I've been praying for so long, I don't even know how long it's been. Before you left, you said you were going to pray too. You said you hoped we could meet in another life. I'm not misremembering, am I? Michael, come back to me soon. I love you so very much. But my memories of you are starting to fade. What did your voice sound like? What kind of faces did you make? Where did you like to put your hands on me? I don't want to forget. I want to always remember. My memories of you are the only thing holding me together, but they're slipping away from me. How did you speak? What kind of things did you talk about? I'm losing all these memories. Please, Michael, come back to me, before I forget everything. My beloved master. Thought crossed my mind that maybe Morgana's guarantee that you would be reconstructed was just a lie to trick me into staying here, but I quickly discarded it. Because if she had been lying, it would strip all meaning from my very existence. It would take from me my purpose for being here. So I didn't want to accept that possibility. I had no choice but to persevere in my belief that you would return. I'd always thought that I would be alright, that my faith would never waver. I still believed in myself. But you can be the happiest, most optimistic, resolute person in the world, and you'll still break eventually. And I was at the point where even the slightest tap would shatter me into fragments. Several hundred years after I was enslaved within the mansion, something changed for the very first time. Sunlight, which I had not seen in all that time, shone in from outside. At first, I did not believe it was real. I thought it was a hallucination born of my inner desires. And I thought I must have completely lost it for my fantasies to have escaped my mind. But it didn't matter if it was all an illusion. The gentle breeze blowing in through the window felt wonderful. The smell of grass, the chirping of birds, the glistening blue sky. It was like 1,000 memories rushed back all at once, and brought tears to my eyes. The time has come, Giselle. It's time for you to get to work. And as she always did, the witch's voice crushed my elation, dragging me back to reality. Reveling in the sight of the outside was the last thing I should have been doing, for it was that moment that began my true decline. Work? What kind of work? Oh, have you forgotten already? Oh, good heavens. You have your head on straight, my dear? As I said, I need you to watch over the house, and show your utmost hospitality to those who show up. This is merely an appetizer. Looks like someone's here. Well, hold on, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. Do the same thing you have been doing. Be a maid. Convince the house's guests that this is a wonderful place. Make them enjoy their stay. Now go on. I'm quite looking forward to this. The bar has been removed. Will the door open? For so long, the door had refused to budge. For so long, light had forsaken these halls. For so long, there had been no trace of life. Now, all of that had been turned on its head. I felt like I had stepped into heaven on earth. I know that sounds melodramatic, so please don't laugh. It was almost certainly a perfectly ordinary slice of nature. Leaves and grass rustled in the wind, flowers specked the earth, and in the distance was a city I didn't recognize. I wondered where I was, of course, but I neither shouted nor jumped in surprise. Instead, I found myself accepting of my circumstances, as unnatural as they may have been. As I was standing there idly before the entrance, a carriage rolled up. Egad, could this road be any bloody worse? In dire need of paving on top of everything else. And who might you be, young lady? That outfit? Speaking a different language. A middle-aged man approached me. From his attire and the way he held himself, he appeared to be upper class. However, the words coming out of his mouth were not in the language I had grown up speaking. Could the mansion have moved somewhere far, far away? Naturally, I had no idea how such a thing was possible. And the longer I stood there staring at him absent-mindedly, the more incredulous he became. My immediate mission was to overcome the language barrier. Fortunately, I suppose, I was able to understand bits and pieces of what he had said. As merchants in the capital, my family did business with people from other countries, and as a result, I had learned a handful of words. The problem was, it had been so long ago, I had no confidence whatsoever in my ability to hold a conversation. I am a servant. Servant? Can't say I remember asking for a lady servant, but I suppose these things do happen. Doesn't much matter who they sent. Who are you? Weren't informed? Bloody hell, off to a great start, I see. Well, what can you do, I guess? The name's Hayden Rhodes. Just a retired old man. So is this the granddad from... Oh, I was gonna speculate, but then the, line came up which confirms my speculation, so... As I'm sure you have already guessed, this man was the Rhodes siblings' grandfather. He was also the first person I served under as the maid. For a member of an esteemed noble family, Hayden was a bit on the eccentric side. He only hired a handful of servants, claiming he was not fond of clamor. There was a single chef, a physician, a servant to take care of all the cleaning, and then me, who served as his personal assistant. Whenever he got the chance, Hayden would chase me down and make me practice proper etiquette. According to him, I had much to learn. You are, at least technically, a servant of the Rhodes family, young lady, so I can't have you going around playing the country bumpkin act. Yes, sir. And we'll have to do something about that accent, too, while we're at it. I have an accent? Thicker than bloody molasses. Now, I have no interest in sticking my nose into your business, asking where you hail from, but while you're here, you must act the part, young lady. Luckily for you, I'm retired and have all the time in the world. I'll teach you everything you need to know about proper etiquette. All right. Speak up, will ya? Yes, sir! Hayden did not go easy on me, either. In addition to my day-to-day duties, I studied etiquette, the language, proper pronunciation, and formal diction. Anytime I made the slightest mistake, he would shout his dissatisfaction. Listen carefully. A servant is the face of a house. A servant's gaff is her master's gaff. Always keep this in mind. You're not just a maid. You must always act with elegance and grace. You must always maintain your composure, even if the house is falling down around you. Whatever happens, you deal with it quickly and quietly. Your language must be immaculate. No ums, uhs, or pauses. For any reason. Yes, sir. No stammering either. Sorry. Bloody hell, you are not going to make this easy, are you? Whose idea was it that a country bumpkin would make a good servant? I'd like to give him a piece of my mind. I'm not from the country. Not even slightly. I was raised in the capital. Is that so, eh? A prim and proper city girl, are ya? In that case, you should be a quick study. Absolutely. I can learn anything in a week. Tops. Piece of cake. Is that so? Alright then, starting tomorrow, I'm tripling your lessons. I didn't think this through. In addition to being my master, Hayden was my teacher. When he yelled, he grew twice his size, and I shrunk to half mine. But it wasn't at all an unpleasant experience, because I knew he wasn't raising his voice to belittle me. His instruction may have been harsh, but it was human interaction, There were people around that I could talk to, and that was wonderful. I was starting to regain some of my humanity. Unlike me, you still got a long life ahead of you, young lady. Don't you know it? Rather, you don't know the half of it, I guess is the idiom I was shooting for there. I don't know what kind of life you've lived, but I can't imagine it's been all that easy. Not many servant girls your age without a home to go back to. Which is why you need to learn this. Once you've got all the rules and customs down, you'll be able to hold your own at any noble's estate. You shouldn't have any trouble keeping yourself employed. I'm sure you think I'm just a loud, obnoxious old man, but I believe we met for a reason, so I hope you'll stick with me. I, don't think about you like that at all, Master. You're a remarkable man. One more time. I deeply appreciate your generous consideration, Master, from the bottom of my heart. I didn't know much about Hayden's situation, why he had retired to this mansion all alone, away from the rest of his family, but anytime I asked about them, he would say, "It happens sometimes," with a melancholic frown. For long, 2 years had passed. At that point, my etiquette had improved enough to satisfy his high standards. In that time, the mansion underwent a number of decor changes, as Hayden brought in sculptors to work on different areas of the house. He also sealed off rooms that were not in use, such as the observation tower and the chapel. It was a sad thing, seeing areas with so many memories for me falling into disuse, but as a mere servant, I had no say in the matter. In addition, Hayden seemed to greatly enjoy renovating the house, so I watched him warmly. The furniture was all gradually replaced, gorgeous paintings hung on the walls, colorfully patterned curtains installed, and a brilliant rose garden planted. These roses came from all across the world. Nowhere else you can see so many different varieties in one place. It's beautiful. You know that in the city, people are starting to call the mansion Rose Manor? Rose Manor. And to think there used to be nothing but weeds here. Amazing how much it has changed. I never thought I would see this garden turn into something so beautiful. Are you fond of roses, young lady? Yes, red ones especially. Red roses mean a great deal to me. They remind me of a time long past. Given one as a gift, were you? No, I believe I was the one who gave the rose. So red roses are a symbol of my feelings. They're very precious to me. I gave you a rose as a gift. You plucked it from its stem and placed it in my hair. Am I remembering correctly? My memories are so vague now. I can't even remember the look on your face that day. There are some kids I'd like to give roses to myself. Who? My grandchildren. Oh my, you have grandchildren? Aye, though we haven't been in touch for some time. Last I saw them was 4 years ago, when my second grandchild was born. Ooh, awkward. The sweetest girl in the world, with lovely flaxen hair. Sweetest girl in the world is a description of Nellie that I would have to disagree with, but okay. She's going to be a real beauty when she grows up. Anyway, they're wonderful kids. And one day, I want to hand this garden over to them, each and every rose containing my hope that they'll live comfortable, healthy lives free of strife. I'm sure your wish will come to pass. Morgana might have something to say about that. Your grandchildren will have wonderful lives. Aye. The grief of not having you around still weighed heavily on my mind, but I was slowly approaching contentedness. Life with Hayden was slow and uneventful, peaceful and relaxing. I imagined my heart was seeking anything to alleviate its pain, and it found that in the beautiful remodeled mansion, the garden blooming wildly with roses, and my time with Hayden. I was even beginning to think this life was enough for me, that I would be okay with this being the end, if it meant more of the tranquility I felt. I was, like a coward, considering giving up the fight. Please do forgive me for ever considering such a thing. Hayden seemed to be in high spirits that day. A gift had apparently arrived from his son, who lived far away. In it was a tea set, some leaves, and a small jar of sugar. Miss! How can I be of service, master? Brew me up a pot of this, would you? Be careful not to steep it for too long. You want to get it just right for the best flavor. As you wish, master. You seem quite pleased. Why would I be? A boy who's shunned his old man for years sends him a paltry gift on a whim. I'm just entertaining his fancy. Your tea is ready, master. Ah, what a wonderful smell. Tea and roses are life's best damn spices. Now, let's see what that boy chose for me. If it's no good, I'll be sure to write him an angry letter. He looks so happy. He must really love his family. It's a little bitter. Shall I brew another pot? No, it's not your fault. Must be something in the leaves. I mean, that's why the sugar's there, right? Would you like to add some sugar, then? There was a small jar of it with the tea set. Now that's some bloody fine sugar he's procured. White as snow and sparkles in the light. He chose it just for you, master. Bloody hell, what demon possessed him? Alright, give me 2 spoons then. Yes, master. Here you are. Splendid. This is some exquisite tea. The sugar balances the bitterness of the leaves perfectly. I guess that boy does have some... Master? Is it poisoned? That's fucked up. Master! Master! The doctor! I need to find the doctor! Water! Water! I'll get you some water right away. So please hang in there. That's messed up. Thanks to the quick treatment provided by his personal physician, Hayden survived, but he didn't make it out with much more than his life. I guess it might not be that the tea was poisoned, he was just old, but he was permanently bedridden by the affair. Evidently, the sugar I had put in his tea had contained poison. Okay, I was right the first time. Which had done irreparable damage to his nerves and muscles. Most of his body was completely immobile, except for his left arm. What the hell? Who the hell sends their dad, like, poisoned tea? Can I bring you something? Some water? I've had more than my fill of water. You don't need to wait on me hand and foot. That face says you need to distract yourself by working. Remember what I told you? A noble family's servant must always act with elegance and grace. You must always maintain your composure. But how can you expect me to remain composed? If I'd only examined the sugar more thoroughly... You never would have noticed, young lady. I examined the sugar and didn't see a bloody thing wrong with it. He was damn crafty, that's for sure. Why would he do this? His inheritance, I presume. Something must have come up and he needed money quickly. That's no reason to poison your own father. Blood is nothing but an obstacle to ambition. Or maybe he just hated me. How could anyone possibly hate you? Perhaps that could be said of the me you know. But when you live as long as I have, you're bound to make an enemy or two. Mine just happened to be my son. I was planning to give him everything anyway. He didn't have to do this. It all would have been his. Master, killing me doesn't accomplish anything. But I guess it doesn't much matter. Say, could I ask you something, young lady? What can I do for you? I don't want it to get out that Hayden Rose was poisoned. So could you tell people that I passed away peacefully with a beautiful nurse tending to my every need? You're not dead yet. Please don't talk like that. You're scaring me. No stammering. What? I'm not saying it'll happen immediately, but I am an old man, and one day you'll wake up and I'll be gone. This is about my own pride, not my son. The last thing I want is to go out with a black spot on my name. Tell me you'll do this, Giselle. You've never said my name before. As you wish. Thank you. You're a peculiar girl, you know. Sometimes you seem greener than the leaves in summer, and sometimes you seem like you've seen 12 kinds of hell. And every so often, you seem not of this world. Your skin is pale, your hands as cold as ice. At one point, I thought you might be death himself. But I was wrong about that. You have too big a heart to be deaf. You care too much. You must be carrying a very heavy cross on your back. What am I supposed to do? I don't want to lose you, Lord Hayden. I don't want to lose this life. You have someone, don't you, young lady? Someone you're dying to meet again. Yes, but I don't know anymore. I don't know how long I'm supposed to keep waiting. If something doesn't happen soon, I don't think I can hold myself together much longer. I was so close to breaking down, and it was you who kept me on my feet. I'm sure you've tried to remain strong plenty of times. I'll give you some different advice. A trick for when you think you're losing hold of yourself. Build a cocoon. A cocoon? A sturdy shell to keep your weak inner self safe. The world has no interest in protecting you, only swallowing you whole. So you mustn't readily expose your true self. You build a cocoon, and you play the role you need to play. That way, the real you will remain unharmed. It's not pleasant to hide yourself like that, but it's better than letting the world crush you. But a word of warning, if you spend too long in the cocoon, the real you is liable to disappear forever. You'll be swallowed up by your own protective shell. I hope you find whoever it is, before it's too late. Now, I think I'll get some sleep. All this talking's worn me out. As you wish. Good night, Master. See you in the morning. Aye. See you in the morning, young lady. The next day, Hayden was dead. He'd strangled himself with his left hand. I should have been more attentive. I should have recognized how much pain he was in, how much it crushed him to have been betrayed by his own family. I should have realized how he truly felt, how fragile he really was. I fell into a hopeless gloom. I could hardly believe that the quiet life I had finally attained had been shattered in the blink of an eye. Hayden's other servants quickly went their own ways, and I vividly remember the dirty looks they all gave me. Everyone who knows how he died assumed I had done it. I had no reason to kill him, though. They had more than enough to believe so, for I had, indeed, been the last person to see him alive, and I held firmly to the story he had asked me to tell. While I was unable to convince the other servants, his family was far more accepting of the story that he had departed for the next world happily, though that did not make the truth any less heartbreaking, especially since I was the only one who knew it. Why does this always have to happen? I was happy, but I can never seem to keep hold of it for more than a flash. Despair always comes marching in to rip it away. What am I doing here? What kind of person were you, Michael? What kind of person was I? Oh, my dear, you look positively miserable. Why should you despair at the death of some strange old geezer? Morgana. Was Hayden one of those whom you wish to be reconstructed? Ha! I have no interest in that wrinkled bag of bones. And if he was one of them, do you really think I would have let him go so peacefully? Peaceful? You call that peaceful? You call his misery peaceful? I most certainly do. And since you do not seem to understand this, the pain of death lasts but an instant. The worst torture can only be inflicted upon the living. Setting two loved ones against one another, manipulating one into taking the other's life, and forcing him to live with that. The stage hasn't even been set yet, my dear. And you would have me play a part in that? Indeed. You agreed to accompany me. You are here to be my guide, and you're doing a wonderful job of it so far. I haven't done anything. Oh, but you killed that old man, did you not? Thanks to you, my wish is one step closer to fruition. What do you mean I killed Hayden? You mean to claim you didn't? Tell me, who was it that put the poisoned sugar in his tea? No, I didn't mean to. Your intentions are irrelevant. Everything moves along the path forged by my wish, and you shall continue to follow its will. You know what? I'm done feeling like this. I don't want anyone else to go through what Hayden did. And what are you going to do about it? I'm done listening to you. Without me, you have no influence over this world. Oh? So I'll die. I'll take my own life right here and now. I grabbed a nearby knife and held the tip against my breast. My hands were shaking, my heart pounding. My whole body was racked with terror, but I could have sworn I heard Morgana gasp. This was her one weakness, I thought. What are you thinking? Don't do this, Giselle. Don't be foolish. Put the knife down, right now. I'm done trusting anything you say. Giselle, put the knife down. I've missed you so very much, Michael. I've wanted nothing more than to see you again. But if my being Morgana's guide is going to cause other people suffering, then I can't. It's all over, Morgana. Huh? There's no blood? Not even pain? Why? Absolutely brilliant. I told you not to be foolish, but you just wouldn't listen to me. Ah ha ha ha, such a silly girl. I really am. Ooh, awkward. I couldn't even die if I wanted to. Learning that absolutely crushed me. My backup plan, the one escape route I had thought available to me, had been ripped away. My spirit crumbled. I felt myself sinking into a vast darkness. I began losing my grip on myself, which is when I recalled Hayden's advice. Build a cocoon. It was the only option I had left, my final chance at protecting myself. Although ultimately, I was unsuccessful in that endeavor, as you know. By that point, my mind and spirit had all but been lost, eroded away by the years of solitude, the witch's whispers, the brief glimmer of happiness, and the eternal, boundless darkness it had left me in. It was in that moment that all light drained from my eyes, and it was in that moment that the maid was born. Oh, dearest Mel, come over here. There are so many beautiful flowers. Now, Nellie, there's no need to run. You're going to fall, and you can't say I didn't warn you. Hello, I've never seen you before. Are you the new maid? Good afternoon, Lady Nellie. That is correct. It is an honor to serve you. Oh, did you do all this? I did not. The garden was your grandfather, Lord Hayden's work. Wow, is grandfather a wizard? Perhaps he was. I am sure he would be delighted to know you like it. Did grandfather like flowers? Yes, he loved them quite dearly. Wow, I love flowers too. I've never seen a garden with so many pretty flowers. Do you know this kind of flower is called a rose? Just like our name. Why yes, they do sound alike. Oh, rose, roads. Yeah. And like the flowers, you are also a very sweet little girl. Say, what's your favorite color of rose? I like all colors. But you don't like any of them most? That's too bad. My favorite is pink. Pink roses are so pretty. Indeed they are. Ah, geez, there you are, Nellie. Oh, my apologies. Please don't mind my sister. Oh, not at all. We were having the most wonderful time. That's good. I imagine we'll be seeing each other around, so it's a pleasure to... Dearest Mel, let's see what the inside's like. Mother says I have my very own room. Ah, slow down, Nellie. I beg your pardon. The inseparable siblings ran off to the mansion, hand in hand. It was a heartwarming sight. But the next moment, when they stepped inside, I saw something else. The darkness enveloping the mansion seemed to flare up, the open door a gaping maw into its hungry bowels. The whole house looked as though it was cackling. It was, I presume, the witch Morgana's madness taking form, a manifestation of how she felt now that her centuries in the making wish was bearing fruit. Those two children were the ones Morgana had been waiting for. Had I still had any willpower to fight left in me, I would have taken them by the hands and sent them far away. I would have done something before the house swallowed them up, but instead, I just gently lowered my eyes. Misfortune would surely sink its teeth into those two children before long. Pain and misery would befall them. I knew no good lay ahead for them, but my heart had all but frozen solid. I had my hands full taking care of myself. So I let Hayden's beloved grandchildren fall into the witch's hands. I was, for all intents and purposes, Morgana's marionette. Ah, at long last it has arrived. The time I have been waiting so long for has arrived. Darling, devoted Giselle, I know not how to describe for you the fiery excitement burning within me. Ooh, I know, I can tell you my story. Tell you exactly what the mild-mannered little boy once did. You'll be open to listening now, won't you, my dear? And you'll surely understand that I'm doing nothing wrong. Because you're my ally, my trusty servant. You and I, we live in the same world. We're as close as family, are we not? Yes, as you say. So let us curse them, all of them. Let us inflict a pain worse than physical torture on them. Let us put their souls on the rack for all eternity. Curse them. Make them suffer. Curse them. Now, listen carefully, Giselle. This is a tale of wicked men, and my curse upon them. The witch spat her curses for some time, the bile overflowing from her words, pure, unadulterated hatred brimming within, consumed me more than the horrifying things they described. She was brutally honest, each word a carefully sharpened blade of animosity. How much bitterness did you have to carry inside you to become like her? How long did you have to feel nothing but hatred to become like her? I felt like, if I let my guard down, I would be consumed by her enmity. It would become mine, and I would grow to despise them myself. All the while, I kept my mind on one single thing. That is, what was left of my mind, locked away inside a shell of my own creation. It was the solitary truth that allowed me to hold on to my human emotions, to continue believing. I'm always waiting. My love will never fade. When I was still my old self, I called them master and would do anything for them. Michael, that was their name. They were beautiful. They had pearly white hair and ruby eyes. They are going to come for me. Wait, are all the white-haired girls also Michael? Like, they left a bunch of allusions to the white-haired girl in the 5th story, so I'm not buying into that theory wholeheartedly, but that would be super depressing. Michael, all I can remember about you... No, she promised reconstruction, right? So if the white-haired girl's female, right? So, she can't be Michael? Probably. Maybe? I'm trying to think of a loophole there to get around it, but I don't think you can get away with that one. I think, like, only Michael can be Michael. Also, in the bad ending in Paris, they existed in theory separate from each other, right? Like, white-haired girl watched Michael get hit by traffic. So they're probably not the same person. But man, that would be depressing as fuck if they were. All I can remember about you is your name, your glassy white skin, your fiery red eyes, and your snow-colored hair. Nothing else. And that's why, when I saw her that night, dripping from the storm raging outside, I thought, you're finally here. Because I didn't remember enough to know any better. You already know who I speak of, don't you? The person who called upon Rose Manor that fated stormy night. A girl with almost translucently pale skin, chillingly white hair, and eyes like jewels. Ah, what a beautiful girl. Her hair, her eyes, her porcelain skin. It all matches the person in my memories. She must be. The one I've been waiting for. Ooh, if she is. Is something the matter? No, I just thought I felt someone watching us. It's only your imagination, I'm sure. If not your imagination, perhaps some unseen force was watching you. Unseen force? Are you familiar with how people refer to this mansion? Rose Manor. Yes, indeed. It is called Rose Manor because you can smell the sweet fragrance of the rose garden even at a great distance. But that is not what I meant. It is said that a witch resides within the house. A witch? I have not heard any such stories. You probably wouldn't have. It was a very, very long time ago. Nothing you need concern yourself with. You have a peculiar presence about you. Should I consider that a compliment? A peculiar presence, she says. Does she sense something in me as I do her? This has to be her, then. Her name. I need to ask her name. It's getting late. You should get some rest. A room has already been set aside for you. Okay, so there is a scene in the first door, I think, where Giselle asks a white-haired girl her name. So we're gonna get some interesting answers when that scene rolls around. First, may I ask you one thing? Oh, maybe that's this right now. Yes? I do not believe you have given me your name yet. My name is Michel. Does that break the reconstruction rules? Or did we just get, like, trolled super hard? Ah, I knew it. You are the one. What? You are the one I've been waiting for. I've endured so much in anticipation of this moment. Or is it just like a weird-ass coincidence? So that I could reunite with you. You came to this place to see me again, did you not? Held tight to those wonderful memories until you could make it back to me? I never gave up hope. I always believed, and I hope you'll praise me for that. And I ask you to please say my name. To please make me... I don't know anything about you. I'm sorry, you seem to be confusing me for someone. We've never met before now. You jest. You are Michael, are you not? That is my name, yes. But it's a fairly common name. Okay, I guess this probably makes more sense in the original Japanese. Because phonetically, Michael and Michelle are probably... Maikoru? No, Michelu? Maybe not. That's close enough. But it's a fairly common name. Surely you're confusing me with... That cannot be. That white hair, white skin, those red eyes, and that name, the name of the Archangel. Everything about you is the same. How can you say you are not my Michael? Please, Michael, remember for me. Stay away from me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be rude. You would reject me? I'm so sorry. I honestly don't know you. You care nothing anymore for the time we spent together? We've not spent any time together. You would deny everything? I'm sorry. I see. I see. Do you feel nothing for me anymore? Oh, jeez. Again, like, it doesn't even matter if Michelle is Michael or not at this point, right? Like, either way, this ends really poorly for all parties involved. You don't need to say anything. I understand. You're feeling a great deal of disgust towards me. No, or perhaps it is fear. You were always so kind. You would not easily allow yourself to succumb to hatred. I understand. Please, forget everything I have said. Who are you? I am but a simple maid, nothing more. Laughable, isn't it? You no longer recognize Michael as anything more than a concept. Man or woman, elderly or infant. As long as they had white hair, red eyes, and the right name, they were you. I needed anything I could get. I was so desperate the thought never even crossed my mind that she was not you. I mean, in fairness, those are some pretty specific physical characteristics. And the odds of, like, there have been, what, 24 people who have entered the mansion in the entire 500-year span she's been there? Like, that's not an unreasonable assumption to make. Like, I don't know. It's difficult to fault Giselle here for getting that wrong. Like, I was getting it wrong while reading that section just now, and I already knew they were different people, sort of. Or I had, like, every reason to suspect they were different people. What do you think, seeing me like this? That I'm helpless and hopeless? Listen to this, Morgana. Michael is back. She's finally come for me. But she does not remember anything, it seems. Not me, not our past, nothing. She saw me and was afraid, in fact. Are you listening, Morgana? Aha, darling, devoted Giselle. You poor, pitiful soul. That must have been quite harrowing. But don't worry, you still have me. Besides, this might not be your only chance. As long as you continue on, Michael could appear before you again. Do you think she will remember me next time? I can't say. That is up to Michael. You do have another option, though. Forget Michael yourself and seek out a new master. Someone who can be yours. Someone dedicated and faithful. Who needs you. Someone worthy of this mansion. Someone who needs me? That's right. Michael didn't need you after all. It's alright. Don't worry. You have plenty of time. Alright, so I was waffling back and forth there for a while on whether or not Morgana was an asshat. Pretty sure she's an asshat. I've made my decision. I am giving her the badge of asshattery. Okay, and then we're gonna get a short series of animations reliving the events of Door 1. And then it's probably not gonna give dialogue again until we pick back up at Yukimasa's crash landing. Also, those are some sick buckles on Mel's shirt. I hadn't noticed those the first time around. Michel ran off. Very sad. Oh yeah, and then the maid shows up here. Maybe they'll give more dialogue about that scene? No, I guess not. I don't recall the maid saying anything particularly relevant there. It's raining again today. I kind of wonder what happened to him after he fled from the mansion. Although, I suppose it doesn't much matter to me. The witch is surely watching him. This is a dreadful storm. It sounds like someone crying. I was, at that point, completely out of my mind. Broken. My smiles, frowns, and gasps had all been replaced with imitations. Shortly afterward, the flaxen-haired boy moved out of the house and went on to become a priest. The girl fell ill a few years later, her disease eventually taking her life, but the boy never once returned home. The Rhodes family crumbled. I couldn't bring myself to grieve for them, or reflect on Hayden's sorrowful end. I simply waited for time to begin moving once more. So after all this, it's sort of a a miracle that the maid is in as decent of a shape as she is in the hub world. So it's possible that there's events that take place after Door 3 that we have not been privy to as of yet. Little remains to be said about my broken self. But as I stated before we begun, this is the maid's tale, so I'd like to take this opportunity to elaborate on events I was unable to show you before. That is, if you can bear listening to such a dismal, miserable story. I already told you of my meeting with the beast, but I'll begin the second tale from here. After Bestia slaughtered the merchant who showed up at the mansion, his mad laughter echoing through the halls. Hey, did you hear that? Did you hear his screams? He said I was a monster. Mutilated body lay sprawled across the living room floor. As you can imagine, that was my first time ever seeing such a bloody, mangled corpse. I could not look directly at it, so I averted my eyes. Hey, you saw it! I just proved that beasts are stronger than humans. Indeed you did. I know. I've got a great idea. You asked if I wanted to become the master, and I said I did. Which means you work for me, isn't that right? So you'll do whatever I tell you to do, won't you? What would you have me do? Chop up his arms and legs and make a stew out of him. Don't you hesitate, or you'll end up like him. Yes, master. That's gruesome. He's trying to assert his total dominance over me. That's not proper behavior for the master. Although, I am the one who offered him the role. Do it. He's an utterly mad beast. But am I really all that different? There's blood all over my hands. Sounds like someone's laughing. Is it him, or is it her? No matter what happens, it won't affect me. Cocoon is not the real me. You can't get that desensitized. I was looking down at what could only be described as a pile of human debris. I had done this, but the fact did not register with me. I felt nothing at all. Not regret, not anger, no sorrow or despair. Put it on the fire. He said he traded in spices. That should give him a very unique flavor. How am I supposed to work with this? I was, quite simply, puzzled. No one had ever made a request of me in my hundreds of years at the mansion. That's all I was, puzzled. But he interpreted it as hesitation or fear, so he grabbed me by the shoulder, knocked me to the floor, and skewered me with that curious blade of his. Japanese steel, folded 1,000 times. For the first few moments, he wore that deranged grin of his, but as the seconds passed, it slowly transformed into shock. Not a drop of blood spilled from my breast, and the instant he realized it, I saw revulsion in his eyes. Him, of all people. A man who cackled as he slaughtered others was disgusted by a mere maid. It was absurd. So much so, I almost wanted to cry. You. Is that all, master? Are you not going to dismember me? You could try stabbing my face, or my neck, my stomach, or any other part of me. Maybe then I might die. Oh, now, don't look at me like I'm some exotic creature. Stop that. Quit laughing. Why should I? My only distinctive feature is my smile. I have nothing else. My hands are covered in blood, but I can still smile. It's ridiculous. I get it now. You're the witch, aren't you? Ah, I see. Only monsters ever had a place here. Every so often, I hear a woman's voice in my head. It's you, isn't it? You're the witch. Monster, witch, maid. What am I? Who is Giselle? Michael said she was spirited, true to herself, that she often laughed and cried and shouted. But I don't know anyone like that. I'm just a maid, nothing more than a servant. The woman's voice he had said he heard was probably the real witch's, but I had no interest in that. I almost would have preferred not having to think about anything at all. Nothing would cause me to waver if my head was empty. A world without joy or sorrow sounds quite wonderful, but nothing ever went the way I had planned. For the white-haired girl, whom I thought I would never see again, appeared before me once more. I was quite nearly in a panic. Beneath my perfectly practiced smile was a veritable storm of emotions. Faint hope flared up within my shell. Perhaps this time, Michael would remember me. But that hope was, unsurprisingly, in vain. Is someone there? Yes. I came by to ask if there was anything you needed. I cannot offer you anything extravagant, not like before, but I'm here to provide you with anything in my capacity. I appreciate the offer, but I need nothing. Being allowed to stay the night is more than enough. You work here in the mansion? Yes, indeed I do. I've been here for a very, very long time. A very long time? You might think this is an odd question, but have we met before? Something about you seems familiar. And I get the feeling I have been in this mansion before. Yes, we have met. It was quite some time ago, though. When was it? It was an unimaginably long time ago. Do you remember a boy and a girl with flaxen hair? Flaxen hair. I apologize. My memory fails me. You not remember me either? I was afraid of this. She doesn't remember anything this time either. But I will not be so pushy this time. I could not bear to be so blatantly rejected again. I see. You should probably not push yourself to remember then. There were joyous times, and there were less than joyous times. Would you be so kind as to answer the one question? What might your name be? My name? My name is Michel. White hair, red eyes, the name Michael. Why must you continue to bring me pain? Why can you not set me free as you were supposed to? I see. So you are Michael again. Again? You should get some rest. I will make tea for you in the morning. Also, go on, close your eyes. The white-haired girl lay so quietly in her bed I could not tell whether she was asleep or awake. Even the sound of her breathing was too faint to hear. Standing over her, looking down at her, blocked away despair and wails of lamentations I thought myself no longer capable of came bubbling back to the surface. Can you honestly blame me? I'd been waiting for Michael for so long. She was the one thing holding me up. She was the only thing keeping my broken self from falling apart completely. Yet she claimed not to remember me. You pity her, having to go through tragedy after tragedy? But every time she showed up, she said she did not know me, bringing me more and more grief. I had been waiting for hundreds of years, waiting for her for so long, my mind slipping away with every passing day, waiting and waiting and wait. My apologies. I have to be careful, or I'll slip back to what I was then. If you weren't here holding my hand now, Tell me, you are Michael, aren't you? That's a relief to hear. Yes, thank you. All right. You think I'm as muddled as I feel? Let us return to the tale, then. You don't know what it feels like. You don't know how much it hurts for someone you've waited for so long for to say they don't know you. You have no idea how much it crushes me. Rather than feel like this anymore, maybe I should just end it all with my own hands. I reached my hands out toward her slender neck. I'm not an especially strong woman, but I thought even I would be able to suffocate her with relative ease. She was blind at that, so she wouldn't be able to run. However, that was the one thing I could not bring myself to do. I can't do it. I ran and I ran and I ran, though I knew I had nowhere to run, plunging myself into the mansion's darkness. I did not want to be there any longer. I did not want to have anything to do with her. Being an inhuman inhabitant of the house, I could not close my eyes or plug my ears as to what happened within its walls, as much as I may have wanted to. It didn't matter where I was. I had no say in the matter. I was forced to observe the events until their tragic conclusion. Bloody, twisted madness. Their wretched wails creating a whirlwind of misery. When it was all over, Morgana cackled like a little girl. Ha 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 ha! Go on, you have a laugh too, my dear. There's nothing in the world better than this. He was a beast through and through. What a fool he was to think he could become human. I love it. He destroyed everything he had with his own hands, and then he couldn't even manage to mourn for it. Quite the unfortunate fate, wouldn't you say? Ha 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 ha! Go on, laugh with me. Laugh with me, my darling, devoted Giselle. Michael is dead too, though. You're worried about that tiny little detail? She'll show up again, of course. So you don't need to worry about a thing. You don't need to feel bad about any of this carnage. Rest easy, my darling, devoted Giselle. If you say so, then I shall not be concerned. Yes, that's a good laugh. Laugh, my dear. Ha 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 ha. Grab some water during the transition. I apologize for making you listen to my dreadful stories for so long. You must be quite weary of them by now. But worry not, for this is the final one. And despite being the end, it is neither dramatic nor exciting. It was a single phrase, the most insignificant of things, that caused me to completely lose myself and forget I had, long ago, been the woman called Giselle. There was no malice in it. It was but a simple greeting. Do you remember how, the first time she arrived, Michael said I had a peculiar presence about me? She felt something there between us. And the second time, she said something about me seeming familiar. She did not remember why, but her soul recognized the bonds we shared. So I assumed that the next time she showed up, she would feel something even stronger, perhaps even have her memories. Despite having been let down again and again, I still held on to the faintest glimmer of hope. But when she appeared, she was someone else's wife. Hey, head maid! Get out here. I'm right here, sir. Is something the matter? I figured you should get to know her as soon as possible, since you'll be spending a lot of time looking after her. Hey, get out here. Christ, there's not a goddamn confident bone in your body, is there? I'm sorry, I'll be right out. The first thing she said when she saw me was, "It's a pleasure to meet you." It's a pleasure to meet you. What had I spent all that time waiting for? It was all for naught. It was all meaningless. In this era, she felt nothing at all for me. In retrospect, it makes enough sense, but for me at that time, that was the end. Morgana! Cast me into darkness. Make me a formless being like you. I don't want to be here another second. I don't want to look at her ever again. Morgana! Please listen to me. I'm begging you. Now, what's the matter, my dear? It's not like you to throw a tantrum. I can't take it anymore. I can't do this. Michael again? Oh, you poor thing. Betrayed 3 times now. Morgana. You pitiful girl. Don't groan like you're having a bad dream, my dear. I am here for you. Please, Morgana. Erase me from existence. If you go away, then I will be all alone. And that would be absolutely dreadful. But I... Tell me, what torments you so, my dear? What? Michael, who I've been waiting on for so long, doesn't... Oh, you poor thing. You spent so long riding the currents of time that you've lost sight of yourself. What? You've convinced yourself that someone else's story is your own. Someone else's? Yes, indeed. It was such a beautifully tragic tale you fell in love with it. It resonated so deeply with you that you felt their pain as if it were your own. What are you talking about? I wanted to tell you, my dear, but you were so convinced it actually happened to you that I couldn't bring myself to take it away. Then, what about Michael? She's not the one you are waiting for, and you are not hers either. Then, what about Giselle? That is not your name. Then, who am I? Who are you? Ha, that's a very silly question. You are this mansion's cursed witch. I'm the witch? That you are. You are both the maid and the witch. But how? Do you truly believe that someone who has eternal life, who doesn't bleed when they're cut, and who can smile no matter what happens to her isn't a witch? How much of this Giselle's memories do you actually possess, my dear? How clearly can you remember her life? You can't, can you? You don't know what kind of story Giselle and Michael wove. And you wouldn't, because you were merely an onlooker. Much like you are now for this present tale. And by contrast, how much of the witch's story do you know? You should know it very well. Yes, but that's because you... No, my telling it to you is not the reason. The details are rooted deep within your memory. Then I'm... That's right. You are the cursed witch Morgana. But you... I am you. You split into 2 because you have refused to accept who you were. Think about it. Have I ever shown myself to you? Have I ever shown myself to anybody? That's why. I am the witch. That you are. I see. It all makes sense now. Everything has fallen into place. There's still one thing I don't understand, though. The story I was so enamored with, Giselle and Michael's story. What kind of story was it? I would be glad to tell you. You look like you're ready to know the truth. And so that's door 4. Makes sense? I believed every word she said. All my worries melted away like they were nothing. The sight of the white-haired girl no longer kicked up waves in my heart. In fact, I found myself wishing for her to find happiness. I was an observer, watching and hoping for the best. The tragedy that befell her did sadden me, but I felt bad for her like I would a character in a story. Huh. So the white-haired... If I have pretty much all the pieces now, then the white-haired girl ended up playing a much smaller role in the story than I was expecting her to. I brought you your medicine, Master. Thank you. Just set it down over there. Yes? What are you staring at? My apologies. I was simply musing about how much time has passed. I can hardly believe it has been 40 years since you were a bright young businessman. You haven't aged a day. Why, thank you. I am a witch, after all. Well, I don't much care what you are. You're the Grim Reaper for all I care. You still work harder than anyone else. May I ask you a question, Master? What is it? Why have you not returned to your homeland? I thought it was a place quite dear to you. I can't wait for her, back there. Do you still believe she will return? To a degree, I understand how difficult it can be to wait. Though for me, waiting now brings more joy than pain. With your lifespan, Master, it will be the pain that wins out. Perhaps you should consider letting go. Tell me, was her name really Michel? Why, yes, it most certainly was. But why would you ask such a thing? Have you forgotten your own wife's name? You waited so long that it would seem, like me, some part of you has begun to break down. You poor, poor man. You know, you look a whole lot more pitiful than me. Oh my. Oh, there you are. What has you in such a flurry, my dear? You are a noble servant. You must maintain your composure at all times. But the master... What about him? He was found deceased. In his chambers. The doctor just came out. He said it was his ailment. And it would seem the master knew his time was short, for he left a will, asking not to be given a funeral. I see. I feel kind of bad for him, though. Not only did he not have anyone at his side for his final moments, he didn't want to be sent off at all. Isn't that sad? It is for the best. There's not a single soul in this world left who could send him off. Man, that's depressing. With your era drawn to an end, this mansion will soon return to existing nowhere in this world. I wonder what the next one will look like. I wonder if misfortune will befall her once more. That would be quite regrettable. Perhaps, if I could convince her of her tragic fate, she would be willing to disappear from this realm with me. And if she continues to fight, and if she wishes to fight that fate, perhaps she will become my next master. Calling her master seems inappropriate, but I cannot think of a word that fits better. I mean, mistress? I eagerly await the next era. Please do not keep me waiting for long, master. So I wonder if there's a 7th door, where, like, the white-haired girl gets to have a happy ending, too. Time pressed onward, and then, at long last, you arrived. Oh, splendid. You have finally awoken. I have simply been waiting so long for this moment, tending to the mansion all by my lonesome, ensuring it was ready for your turn, master, whenever that time may be. When I caught sight of you through the window, my heart fluttered. The time had finally arrived. Oh my, do you not know who I am? Do you not know who you are, either? That is quite the predicament. And how about this? I'm a servant of this mansion, and as such, I am familiar with the many incidents that have taken place here. I shall show you the history of this house, master. Let us be off, then. And fear not. I merely entreat you not to let go of my hand. Should you hold it tightly, you need not worry about being washed away by the waves of history. No matter what happens, you mustn't let go of my hand. No matter what happens, no matter what you see, never again let go of this hand. That is everything. I prepared a number of things to say when she finished with her tale, but I can't manage to put any of them into words. I almost hate myself for thinking it would be so easy. Letting myself hope I could simply pull her back to her old self, accept whatever had happened to her, take her hand in mine, and that would solve everything. The truth is so much worse than I imagined, so much more harrowing. She was subjected not only to her own terrible fate, but every single one of this house's tragedies. The tales she told me are things she witnessed with her own eyes. How can I possibly blame her for forgetting me, for forgetting herself, after so many hundreds of years? No, I should be... Why didn't you come for me? Why couldn't I have returned before she was so far gone? Why did you show up now, Giselle? Because you opened the door to my memories, I now remember everything. But I didn't want to remember. I didn't want to be reminded of all those empty years, of the people who passed on, leaving me behind. Of you, who refused to show up no matter how much I begged. I'm not the Giselle you knew anymore. I may have my memories, but I cannot go back to that time. My hands are stained with blood, my soul worn thin. The girl who would laugh at the simplest things, who would tell silly jokes and wasn't afraid to speak her mind, doesn't exist anymore. That Giselle is dead. How can you say I am the same girl? How can you say I feel the same way I did? How can you be sure that even now? How can you be sure that even now I still love you? Can you deny the possibility that I no longer yearn for you? With the white-haired girl? Can you deny the possibility that my love for you has transformed into hate? She brings her hands up toward my throat, and I make no attempt to move out of her way. When her fingers brush against my skin, they feel as frigid as death itself, or colder than anything I've felt from her thus far. If she were to wrap her hands around my neck, she wouldn't even have to squeeze to stop me from breathing. This is the fork in our road. One word will decide everything. Oh, choice coming up. I don't have much time. I have to say something before the cold robs me of my voice. Alright, we're gonna save because, like, you're very clearly alluding to a choice coming up. Of course, I'll deny it. While I was floating in the darkness, I heard a voice. Regrettably, it took me far too long to realize that it was your voice, crying for help, calling for me. You may have lost hold on your old self, but somewhere deep down, you kept calling for me, which is how I found my way here. I refuse to believe that isn't real. I refuse to stomp on a love that survived for hundreds of years. By all means, hate me. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. I don't care if you spit bile at me for the rest of eternity. I will not let go of this hand. Because you asked me not to. I could kill you. Right now. If that's what you want, then go right ahead. But I'll fight you with all I've got. Giselle. I've missed you too much to lose you again. I don't care if it makes you despise me. I don't care if you think I'm being inconsiderate. I want to save you. But I'm not the Giselle you once knew. I'm an abomination. My mind and body are twisted beyond recognition. I'm a disgusting monster. The woman you fell in love with does not exist anymore. So just forget about me. You are the one who should be saved, set free from me. You look the same to me. Your manner of speaking, your temperament, your physical appearance may all have changed, but you are still the same Giselle I love. You should never have done anything for a foolish girl like me. You gave your life to save mine, and I hated you for that. I never once considered how you felt with those knights pointing their blades at you. What drove you to allow me to live? I should have, but I didn't. I was the one who trusted the witch, and yet I complained when you never showed up. I unfairly resented you for it. I'm a horribly self-centered person. You'd be so much better off with someone pure and unburdened with all this nasty suspicion and doubt and animosity. You'd be so much happier with someone like her. Giselle. You've been paying attention, haven't you? You were there for all the tales I told you. For everything that has happened up till this moment. You should know just how loathsome a woman I am. Too weak to even keep herself together. No, Giselle. I'm nothing compared to her. Giselle! See? You haven't changed one bit. You still get louder and louder the more you lose your temper. Why do you feel the need to compare yourself to her? Because she is a better match for you. Giselle, I want you to listen very carefully to what I'm about to say. I'm so sorry for keeping you waiting, and I want you to believe me when I say that I dearly missed you from the bottom of my heart. I wanted you back, and that has not changed. Believe me. I love you. I missed you so much too. She leaps into my arms, and she's just as cold as ever. Her warmth-deprived body feels like the embodiment of all my mistakes. I wrap my arms around her, and I'm immediately filled with unparalleled relief, even as she sobs into my chest, her body cold as ice. And then, darkness parts. We are, once more, at the top of the observation tower. It's still shrouded in a miasma of shadows, but we're back in the mansion now. We've emerged from the darkness in her heart. Michael. Yes? I'm sorry. What? I never should have erased you from my memories. Yours are the memories I needed to hold on to tightest. I was so glad to hear you say you still love me, even after learning the truth about me. Thank you so much. Incredibly relieved. As I watched, it felt like you were slipping farther and farther away from me, Giselle. It terrified me. Maybe it makes me a coward, or pitiful, but I was truly afraid of you coming to hate me. I would never hate you, Michael. Ever. Thank you. You must leave this place. What? It would not be wise for us to remain here long. The air is still thick with darkness. But the front door won't open, and even if we could get out from somewhere, what would happen to us? We finally found each other again, after so long. I want to share a quiet, modest life with you like before. What if that all disappears when we step outside? After all, we are... She doesn't finish, but I feel like I know what she was going to say. We're different now. She's stepped far outside the bounds of mortality. And the same could be said of me. I am the man known as Michael is, long since dead. The mansion itself does not follow the rules of nature either. As beings no longer in possession of their proper forms, stepping outside these walls could very well mean the end of us. I can't say what might lie in store, but we must return. Even though, by staying here, we could be together for all time, I don't imagine that would be a very happy life. There's no sun here, chirping birds, no trees or breeze to rustle the leaves. If we stay here, the nothingness will eat away at us. We have finally reattained our old selves. We need to take action now, while we can. What if I say I want to stay here? Then I'll drag you out. It's almost like we switched places. Back then, it was you who wanted to stay. It's also kind of funny hearing you speak favorably of the outside, and especially the sun. The words, "that's all thanks to you," are on my lips, but before I can say them, I found myself hypnotized by her smile. That smile has picked me up so many times. She claimed it's her only redeeming feature, but if she didn't have it, my life would have gone in a very different direction. I'm grateful to have gotten that back too. Say, we're in the middle of a very, touching reunion, wouldn't you say? I suppose so, yes. And wouldn't you say there's a certain way these things usually go? Huh? God damn it, Michael, just kiss her already. Are you really going to make me say it? I was, hoping you might perhaps kiss me? What? What? Oh, seriously? What? Where did all that boldness from a second ago go? What happened to all the momentum you were building? Yeah, about that. I think that might be more appropriate. Later. Later? How much later? After we find an exit. We're, in a hurry. You're just making excuses because you don't want to. I swear that's not it. Giselle, let's save that for when things aren't as crazy. You can't relax and enjoy it right now. What are you, 12? Oh, hush. Alright, fine. But you'd better keep your word, got it? Promise. Let's go then. Let's find our way out of the mansion. There, our frozen time should begin moving again. That's hopefully where our future waits. It will be. No, we'll make it so. Yes, we will. If we leave the mansion, it should release our souls as well. And in doing so, it should finally provide her deliverance. So I mustn't hesitate. To end all of this, for both of us, we must start again. This is where we... Uh-oh. And then Morgana has some very choice things to say about your desire to leave the mansion. What? Darkness. It's a blackness purer than anything I've ever experienced in this house. Not a trace of light anywhere to be found. Why did I ever think the house would let us go so easily? Why did I ever think our time in the darkness was over? Michael! The darkness surges through the open door like a wave, flooding the observation tower. Like ivy growing wildly to cover every last inch of every surface. Consuming, defiling, eroding. Our fingers slip apart, and concentrated rancor rains down upon us. Ah, how hideous a world this is. No! Michael! Please, please! Don't let go of my hand. Giselle! Michael! I said I would never let her go again. I said I would get her out of this place. I swore I would. But as hard as I try to stretch, I can't reach her hand. Help, Michael! I can't move. I can't move my body. I went out of my way to give you a beautiful tragedy. So why must you so stubbornly insist on this ugliness? The more you struggle, my dears, the thicker and more palpable your filthiness becomes. Ah, it's sickening. Wouldn't you agree? She's always spat her bile with a song like Hayden's, singing like a little girl, chirping like a morning bird. She celebrates misery, and she watches for the worst possible moment to let out a cackle. Morgana! Okay, well, red hair means at least she's not the white-haired girl. That would have been a big mindfuck. I swear, you two are hopeless. I pity you. I give you my deepest condolences. Let go! Let me go! Don't take me away from him! Giselle! The darkness seeping into her grew thicker by the moment, and its black tendrils weren't just wrapped around her, but me as well. Stop this, Morgana. Let her go. Ah, wow. Nothing more original? I need a devoted puppet to protect this mansion for me, so I can't give her up, not even at your request. Besides, why should I give back something you threw away? Something you abandoned again and again? What are you talking about? You still haven't figured it out, my dear? Or are you just feigning ignorance for your own convenience? Oh my god, he was Michel. You always did like to withhold anything that might prove disadvantageous. Michael! Giselle, give me your hand. Reach harder. Reach as hard as you can. Grab my hand. I can't do it. It's like I'm tied up. I can't move at all. She's right there. She's waited so many hundreds of years for me, finally managing to reclaim herself, and she's right there. So why can't my hand go any further? Why can't I reach her wrist, her hand, or even a strand of her flowing hair? Why can't I get her back again? Michael! Her voice is growing fainter, more distant. The darkness shrouds her, taking her away from me. Her arms, her fingers, the hands she led me with, her smiling face, her once glowing grin, her now more modest smile. The witch's darkness is stealing every last bit of her. Michael! Help! Stop! Please don't do this! Take me instead of her! Why does it have to be her? Why her? Morgana! Why? Because your work is done, my dear. By all accounts, as the one who resurrected me, you should become my guide as well. But you let a silly woman emotionally manipulate you, and you gave up on cursing others. And then you threw away your life, deluded into thinking you were protecting her. Morgana! You already gave up the position once. Don't think you can just walk up and ask for it back? Set Giselle free. I'll do anything you ask. If you need a puppet, I'll be your puppet. If you want more from me, it's yours for the taking. But I can't leave her, to remain in this cursed house any longer. You certainly have let your obsession for this girl take its toll on you. I much preferred the old, pessimistic, cynical Michael. It wasn't until I met Giselle that I truly became human. She made me into what I'm supposed to be. I can't lose her again. Is that so? Well, you'll come to the harsh realization soon enough that everything you saw in her was just a facade. It was not. Alright then. If you want her back so badly, you can have her. But in exchange, I want you to entertain me. Will you endure maddening agony for me? Will you know pain enough to make you howl? Will you face despair again and again and again? If you need her that badly, you can bear anything, can't you? If that is what you want from me. If that will allow her to see the sun once more. Brilliant. Oh boy. Wait, Morgana! Morgana! As you wish, foolish boy. I was looking for a way to keep busy anyway, so I'll use you to kill some time. Find your way to me, my dear. To find your way to me without going mad or succumbing to despair. And do hurry, or she might lose her mind again. Those memories you forced her to relive, those hundreds of years she spent locked away in her shell, all that fear that ate away at her. It's a bit too much to have to reflect on with a clear mind, wouldn't you say? That's why I need to be there for her. Why I have to get her out of here. That's my obligation to her. You're the one who let go of her hand, though. You can put a broken cup back together, but the slightest tap in the wrong place will shatter it again. Morgana! witch's cackling fades into the distance. My outstretched hand is completely enveloped in the shadows. I can't even make out the faintest outline of it. And I can't tell if I'm sinking, floating, being pushed along some invisible stream, or falling with incredible speed. My eyes are open, but they can detect nothing. The complete lack of sound is almost painful. Nothing, anything, anywhere. Void. My consciousness begins to drift. Vague remnants of the feeling of her hand in mine are my only link to reality, my one and only landmark. Giselle. I must get her back. She waited, enduring for hundreds, no, almost 1,000 years. And now, it's my turn to act. I have to hold that resolve, hold it firm, so that I will never forget her again, so that I never lose myself again, even if I'm consumed by the darkness. You must never back down. You must never look away. You must never lose her. Damn. Well, on that dramatic note, we will be closing out this video and leaving Michael's brave attempts to save the day for another day. So, I have had a wonderful time. I hope you all have as well. I will see you all at some future date, or talk to you, I guess. I probably won't see very many of you at all. But until then, I wish you the best. I've been Teo, and I'm out. Peace.